Money making money making money.
Come on, you gotta tell me, how is this even possible?
It's easy. 1, you take your money and you put it in this secret spot. 2, you let that money grow with compound interest. 3, then you find a place for that money to go where it can work for you. 4, and then every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, you join me for a wealth webinar.
I'll do it.
It's free. Plus, if you join me now, you'll get my free ebook that teaches you to get all the money back for every car you buy, drive, and own. So take advantage of this opportunity and I'll see you there.
Hey, are you ready to take control of your financial future? Welcome to Private Money Club. Private Money Club is the ultimate online platform connecting real estate entrepreneurs with private money lenders just like you. Whether you're looking to fund your next deal or lend money to grow your wealth, Private Money Club is your go-to resource. You can post deals, find funding, connect with other like-minded professionals. It's just a community. It's a community that you need to plug into. If you're new to the game, no problem. Our Learn platform and our weekly coaching webinars and our on-demand resources are here to guide you every step of the way. Join a thriving network of real estate experts who are already making an impact, and they're waiting to partner with you. So Private Money Club gives you the tools, the training, the connections, and everything you need to achieve your financial goals. So why don't you start now by going to privatemoneyclub.com. We'll see you inside. Hey, you need to become your own bank. And it's as simple as changing one thing, and that is where your money goes first. I mean, think about it. Household debts in this country are at all-time highs. You got tons of market volatility. You got the potential for Social Security running out of money. You've got global uncertainty, political divide, and you have to figure out where you're going to put your hard-earned savings. I mean, this is one of those times in history where the rich are getting richer, and it is time to learn the secrets of the wealthy. But here's the good news. Every single Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I put on a free webinar where I teach you how to take back control of your money by teaching you how to become your own bank. So click the link below and let's get started.
So let's go into the app, because the app was created after a dating site, believe it or not. So people with money and people that need money. Phone, swipe left. Swipe left. Ooh, I like that one. Swipe right. You want to go on. If you got money, you want to swipe left through all the deals. When you find one you like, boom, you're connected. How much more difficult does this really need to be? This isn't rocket science. They want you to think it is because they want control of your money. It is time to take back control of our money. I want to invite you to a free interactive webinar that we're doing to teach you how to get prepared for what's about to happen and how you can grow, preserve, and protect your wealth and get it ready for a recession or maybe the next Great Depression. So all I need you to do is click the link below. You're not going to want to miss this with all this stuff going on. Are you sick of having your money lying around not doing anything? Well, we've got the solution for you. PrivateMoneyClub.com. Back to you, Chris. So that's what it is. Private Money Club was created for you and for all of us. So I've got something special. Since you're here, you're listening to us talk to you about the infinite banking concept, I wanted to make an offer. Private Money Club is something that will benefit each of you, but we've got what's called the Accelerator. The Private Money Club Accelerator is a coaching program that takes together the knowledge that you'll need to be your own bank and puts it together with the opportunities in Private Money Club so that now you learn and apply the knowledge. Check it out. We got a very special offer for you to be part of the next Accelerator coaching program and get you into Private Money Club so your money starts working for you.
Hey everybody, it's Buff Finance Guy here, ready to show you how to make some serious gains. But not only in the gym, with your wallet too. Most people put their money in the bank doing absolutely nothing for them. But I'm gonna show you how it doesn't have to be that way. So take Andrew here. His money has just been sitting lazy in the bank. But all he has to do is change one thing, and that's where the money goes first, and everything changes. Just change where your money goes first, silly.
Wait, just one change?
Yeah, that's it. Instead of sending it to the bank, you send it to your very own banking system. Your money can grow and get stronger, just like me.
It's time for Money School TV. You heard it straight from the horse's mouth.
The Money School TV strives to bring you the most relevant content of how money really works, past, present, and future. It's not a one-size-fits-all system. This platform provides you with ways to implement strategic decisions while avoiding fear-based decisions at all costs. Totally digital with new content added all the time on financial wealth creation strategies and how to regain control of your money. This 2-hour monthly group coaching with Chris Noggle is available now for only $19 per month. This is something you don't want to miss. Click the link below to get access now.
He's been on the fence to come to PMC Money Tank. I'm telling you right now, you're missing out on a treat.
This is the ultimate watering hole for lenders and borrowers.
If you've got decent deals, you'll find the funding for it.
The networking here has been fantastic.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Tremendously beneficial.
Oh my gosh, so many people to network with.
First day, I probably met 5 or 6 people. They show me ideas, I show them ideas. We're actually on stage about 20 minutes ago, and since then, I've already had about 20 people reach out.
There are several people that I probably will be doing business with.
I have like 15 private lenders ready to fund my deals. The people here are amazing and so welcoming.
You walk in, everyone greets you right away. No one is a stranger.
It's just an amazing and comfortable place to be.
There's so much stuff that I've been able to learn that I didn't know. I've had aha moments over and over again.
They talked about normal rates of return, not 6%, we're talking about 10%, but in a way that's ethically sound and stable. It's full disclosure, but helps walk you through everything. They even talk about it on stage of like, we've already made the mistakes, so here we are, and we're teaching you to not make the same mistakes. You get to learn from us, you get to just follow our direction and just see what you can do. I've gotten great things out of the virtual events, but there's no comparison to actually coming here, experiencing the energy, and getting to meet all of the people.
Everyone is here looking to grow in some capacity. Being in this environment, it allows you to feed on that and foster that.
During the event, they had a lender-borrower meet and greet, which is pretty cool. It's different when you can spend some time, have a meal together, hang out, joke around. The people are just a blast.
It's so much fun.
The community of the Money Tank PMC, the whole crew with Chris, Steven, Jonah, everybody, and Joe, they've all helped me out. It's been changing my life.
You're gonna learn something, you're gonna meet someone, and it's definitely gonna make a big difference in your business. Not by a little bit, but by a lot.
I mean, you could stay stuck thinking you can do it on your own. There's a lot of people that I talk to is their issue, and then they come here, and I talk to them a year later, and they've grown so much just by coming to this event. Started at $15,000 in credit card debt. As of today, I have $550,000 out in private lending. That's what this teaches you.
I tell people all the time, you have to get in the room to be around the like-minded people.
Go. It's worth it.
Just come, do it for yourself, do it for your business.
Take action. You got to do it.
Come to the event, you don't want to miss it.
Well, the biggest thing I hope that people get is something that they can actually apply in their lives. You know, that's the biggest thing for any of these events that we want. We want people to leave here not just riled up, not just excited, but actually going out and doing something that'll put them in a better financial situation, help their family. And for the speakers, my goal is that they go out and they impact the audience and bring something the audience never had exposure to that allows them to then fill in that piece that they're looking for. I'm going to be talking about more lease options. I'm going to be talking about equity shares. I'm going to be talking about a bunch of fun stuff today. Because again, I'm not here to teach about how to do those deals. I'm here to teach about how to invest in those deals.
Filled with individuals that are like-minded, that are at the top of their craft, they're at the top of their game. And for anybody that's an attendee, it's just a mind-blowing experience.
It's almost going to be hard to speak anywhere else but here because it was such a great experience. I felt like, I don't know. It was amazing. Nothing less than amazing, literally.
At the PMC Money Tank event, which is an epic event that we're putting together that does one thing and one thing only, makes everybody money. It brings people with money together with people that need money. It's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You just smash them together and everybody wins.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Funny part, because this whole thing started with an idea 4 years ago. I had a bunch of real estate in this beautiful state, okay? And in this beautiful state, when COVID hit, the state said, what? Your tenants don't have to pay rent and you can't evict them. Anyone else get caught up in that one? I'm sorry, I'm from New York, and I feel like all of us New Yorkers, we have a permission slip and a little like thing that says we can swear. So is it okay if I swear a little bit? Yeah. This state completely fucked us all, okay? Straight up. So during COVID, I had 91 doors, 91 rentals. We were flipping, we were doing all sorts of stuff. I was teaching people what James was saying, how money really works and the truth about money. And I got caught up in that. 91 doors and a whole bunch of my tenants. At first, we were working with them. Then all of a sudden, they decided, well, the state says we don't have to pay, so they stopped paying some. Then the rest stopped paying, and I said, all right, I'm done. I'm done. You know, a wise man told me a long time ago, one of my mentors, he said, the ultimate in real estate is being the bank. At that very moment, I'm like, yep, I think I'm just going to be the bank. So what I did is I sold all those properties. I had a bunch of money. I went out there and I found a bunch of people like you, and I started saying, hey, you need some money? Hey, you need some money? Hey, you need some money? And everybody started bringing me their deals on a piece of paper, an address, and they would say, hey, can you lend 100 grand? And I'd look at it and I'd be like, on what? And like, what? That's the address right there. Are you fucking kidding me? How many of you would lend money if somebody just gave you a piece of paper with an address? So I said, you know, there's a fundamental problem here and we got to solve this. You know, see, if any of you want to be extremely wealthy, you have to do one thing, and you have to do it extremely well. Does anyone know what that is? Can anyone tell me what that is?
Solve somebody else's problem.
That's it. That's it. You solve somebody else's problem. Nobody cares about your problem. And if you think everybody cares about your problem, there's a great Dr. Phil book I'll recommend to you. But if you don't, if you understand that, we're going to get down to the root cause of getting wealthy, and that is solve somebody else's problem. I started to say, you know what, if I have this problem, other people probably do as well. So I sat there and I said, okay, how can I create something that solves two people's problems? And I identified that there are only two types of people in the world. Okay? Some of you in here, and I'd like you all to identify yourself, how many of you are people that need money? Raise your hand right now. Keep them high. Put them up high. Everybody else in this room, come on, high, all the way up. Extend the elbow. There's a couple people that have shoulder surgery. They can't, so just use the other hand. Okay, there we go. All right, so that's people that need money. Now, the other side of the coin are people that have money. So everybody in here that has money, raise your hand. Okay? We got a couple. So all I identified is I said, you know, there are two types of people in the world. There are people that have money and people that need money, and I said both of them have a problem. People that have money, they want to make more. True or true? And people that need money, they have a problem too. They need money to make more money. And I said, you know what? This is kind of like a dating site. Now, none of you are going to admit this. But how many of you have used a dating site? Okay, some of you are like, hell yeah, I use them today. Tinder. Anyway, some of you know how dating sites work. And I said, you know what, that was pretty genius, right? Back in our day, for some of you that are my age or older, like I'm 48 and some of you are dating me, but you know, remember we used to have to go out to the bar, we used to have to go to the parties, and that was hard work. You'd spend all night long trying to identify and then find somebody to go on a date with, right? Remember that? Somebody was like, screw that, I'm just going to create a dating site where men and women come together on this little platform and they get together, they go on dates to get married, have kids, and have fun. Pretty cool idea, right? So I sat there, I was in Las Vegas, I'll never forget this time, I was with Stephen Nagy, the president of Private Money Club, and I remember sitting there having a beer and we had a napkin, and I said, Stephen, I think I solved a really big problem here. I said, there are two types of people, people with money, people with need money, and they both have problems, but the problem is there's no dating site for money. I drew a circle. One side I said, these are people that have money, and on the other side, these are people that need money. In the middle is community. You see, everybody look around right now. Everybody in here is here for one particular reason. They are all selfish. You are all greedy, selfish sons of bitches. Admit it, you are. You're here to solve your problem. Well, to solve your problem, you must solve somebody else's. It's the first thing you need to understand. When I figured that out, I'm like, you know what? We need a dating site for money, and I'm going to create it. And that's where Private Money Club was born. And if all of you in here need money, and I know a lot of hands went up, the fact that you're not on PMC saddens me. It just means that you haven't heard about it yet. It's totally free. Go to privatemoneyclub.com, sign up, create a profile. You already know how to do that. You've done it on Instagram, Tinder, TikTok, all those social media sites. You created a profile. You do the same thing, except for here you tell people what you want. I'm looking to raise money for my flips. I'm looking to raise money for my Airbnbs. I'm looking to raise money for my apartment buildings. Whatever it is you do, you tell people. Then when you got a deal, you post your deal on the site. You put all the specifics. This is where I ran into problems. Piece of paper with an address? No way. Put the full deal. Tell us what the comps are. Tell us what the scopes of work are. So tonight, we're going to go through and we're going to show all of you how to do that because we're going to talk about how you find the deal. We got experts. We got Phil. Phil is here. Where's Phil? There he is in the back. So everybody know Phil? Put your hands together for Phil. All right. We're going to be bringing Phil up to the stage in just a second. And then Dimitri, can I just tell? Put your hands together. Yeah. Dimitri's going to tell you how to build the team. Now, Dimitri, can you just come up here right here and sit here? I want to show you how I met Dimitri. When we did these events back at Flip Out, I remember I'm standing there and, after I got done with an hour-and-a-half long presentation, I was kind of just, I wanted to get off the stage. I was just wanting to get back to my wife, have a beer and whatever. And as the presentation ended, Dimitri showed me what you did. How old were you at that time?
I was 18.
18 years old. So I finished. I'm like, hey, thanks everybody for coming by. This has been a great event. And I'm just getting ready. Dimitri, do what you did. He stood right here and I'm like, okay. Hey.
Hey, I'm looking for a job.
Hey.
I'll work for free.
No, you didn't say that. I said, we're always hiring, but we don't pay.
Yeah.
And he said, he didn't move. And I'm like, okay, we got something. So he never left. And this is Dimitri, and you're going to hear from him about how to build a team. Dimitri has single-handedly gone from an intern in our organization. Literally, I had him doing the shit work.
I was doing the filing, the bullshit, the fucking vacuuming.
It was, yeah.
Clean the toilet sometimes.
Sometimes you got to get down and clean the toilets. That's just all there is to it. And yeah, where are you at now?
I don't know.
He's here. But you're going to hear more about Dimitri, the team he's built, the contracting company he's built, but also he's not just built a contracting company that is like one of the most well-known, especially in this space. He's also out there flipping houses. And are you going to talk about some of your numbers? I don't want to. Maybe. If you hear his profits he's making, you're going to be like, how? Well, when you own the contracting company and you're doing the flips, it's pretty easy. So you're going to hear that. But you're also going to hear how to build your team. And I think today, the three things that we're going to cover, how to find the deal, Phil's the expert on that, how to build the team, Dimitri does that well. You just stand in front of the guy on the stage and don't let him get off. And then how to find money. If we can cover those three, do you think we all will leave here with something valuable?
Hell yeah.
All right. So let's dive into that. Why don't you come on up here, Phil? Dimitri, pick a seat wherever you want. Now, the only problem we've got is we've only got one mic, so we're going to be passing this around. And I think what my main goal is to get into the nitty-gritty of like how these two gentlemen, and I'll say three, I'll include myself, how we've done what we've done so that you can mimic or exceed that. Because one of the things that I want all of you to know is, although some of you are at various stages, you might be looking up and be like, wow, how many flips have you done now?
116.
116. How many flips have you done now?
My own, like 7.
7, but how many have you done for other folks?
For contractors, we're doing like 50 a year.
50 a year, and then how many people do you have working in your contracting company now?
Between 15 and 20.
How many?
15, 20.
15 to 20 people?
Yeah.
God bless them for that. But nonetheless, you might look at us and say, wow, I want that, okay? So if that's what you're saying, I'm kind of upset with you. Because I want all of you to want double or triple or quadruple what we have. I want you all to literally, Grant Cardone one, 10x what we are. Because you see, it took us this long to figure shit out up here. And what we want to try to give you tonight is what mistakes we made, how we figured this out. So literally from day one or whatever day you're at, you pick up and you start running with that. Is that fair enough? Can you all think that's a good starting place? Yep. So James, why don't you just kick us off? Where do you want to start?
Okay, wonderful. So guys,
we actually prepared.
Submit some questions here. So really quickly, how do you know when a deal is worth pursuing? If you could just repeat that so everybody can hear.
Yeah, how do you know when a deal is worth pursuing? Let's start with you, Phil.
Talking to this,
yep,
I'm
please.
guessing.
Yeah, because we got a whole bunch of people online here, probably, I don't know, 60 or so people online. So,
I'm generally looking at a disposition technique, so I am not picky when it comes to deal selection, as long as I have an exit strategy in the background. I guess using a specific example, I am not a fan of inner city rough rentals. That's nothing I want to hold in my portfolio. That's nothing I'm looking forward to flipping. but I have relationships in the background. I know how to dispose of those. Using a rental as an example, generally speaking, I am trying to cash out of a rental and not have any money into the deal. I'm trying to bridge with private financing and take it to a DSCR lender, put 30-year fixed paper on it, and not having any capital involved in it. When it comes down to flipping, I'm looking at geography. We're generally carrying 15 to 20 flips at a given point in time. If we're primarily spread the city of Buffalo south, I'm not looking to pick something up in Niagara Falls at that point in time. I'm looking at size of project. Velocity of capital is huge. If we can be in and out in 30, 60 days and not have to get into major renovations, it's something I'd honestly prefer. In the perfect world, we're not getting into heavy mechanicals and everything in the background. I mean, at the end of the day, if the price is right, I'll get my hands on it.
Dimitri, how about you?
What is the question?
You want to repeat the question?
Sure. How do you know when a deal is worth pursuing?
So pretty much every deal, you're pretty much looking at the budget and making sure that all the cosmetics and whatever mechanics that you're looking to do, you start with the budget and make sure that you could fit that in to do into the ARV and still make a profit after that. So
I'll just give my standpoint as a lender. When somebody brings me a deal, a lot of borrowers will think that the deal is the everything. That's what they really hang their hat on. They say, I got this great deal, it's gonna be this, it's gonna be that, it's gonna be this. But what I'm really looking for is I wanna know about the person that I'm lending the money to. Because at the end of the deal, the property, that's not writing the check to me. It's the person that's writing the check. So when I see a deal, I really want to know more about the individual I'm giving the money to. Now, I know most of you are borrowing in your entity name, but the entity has a president, has a CEO. What is the CEO's story? How many deals have you done? Like, what is your background? Have you done this before? I just want to know as much as I can about that person. And I also want to know a little bit about your expertise. Let me give you one piece of advice. When I used to borrow a lot of money, I literally had so many private lenders, like while we were doing it. Some of it was cheating because we had that TV show, but when I did that, I had all these private lenders, and I started figuring out why these people wanted to keep lending to me. And I'll tell you one particular thing that I did. When I met a lender, I would bring my deal to them, and it was a fully put together deal. Scope of work, I had comps in there, I had every single piece of info that I could, including photos. But then what I did is I said to them, and here's what I've done. Here's my background. And one other thing, if you lend to me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the bank and I'm going to set up a segregated bank account for you, okay? All your money, when we close and your lien is filed, so I'm articulating that I know how this deal works. When your money is protected is basically what I would say. The lien is filed, now the mortgage is recorded, your funds are going to be released from the title company or the attorney, and they're going to be put into this segregated bank account. Now, Mr. Lender, I want you to be able to look at your money every single day if you want. You can log in, you can see the money, and if we write checks from this to do things, feel free, send me an email, ask what that check's for, and I will always tell you. So what I did is I just connected the lender to their money, which is at that time the most important thing. They trust me, they trust the deal, but now I've connected them. They know their money trail and they can see it. And then I'd also, on a monthly basis, send out a newsletter or an email of the progress. Now, sometimes that was really hard, right? How many of you, like in 1 month, you think a lot's gonna be done and you're like, where are the contractors, right? It's not Dima's problem, but back then I was like, what? Nothing happened in a period of a month, but I would be honest with them. I'd say, hey, listen, we had some setbacks, this, that, the other thing. Just be honest with people. Don't candy coat it. Don't sugarcoat it. Just tell them how things are going. But if you connect them to their money and you give them access to see it, they're going to feel a lot more comfortable. And that was always one thing that, from a lending standpoint now, if somebody did that to me, I would be like, oh yeah, let's do this.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Did everybody learn something from that particular question? Yes, sir. Now, if you guys have a question over the process, this is an open forum. Feel free to raise your hand. We're going to bring the microphone over to you. One of the people are going to bring the microphone over to you. But we want to answer your questions, not just toss questions to them, even though these were emailed in from a lot of people. So feel free to raise your hand. Did you guys notice he didn't say a specific number or a specific profit margin?
You got a question.
You got a question.
Can we get him a mic? Or just go ahead, I'll repeat yours.
So all three of you mentioned scope of work, and I guess I wanted to know, like, I come from a system engineering background, and I'm not very, just knowing how to analyze the scope of work for a particular project. I guess how or who do you trust to acquire that scope of work for a particular project?
So for the online audience, the question is about the scope of work and who do you find or how do you put together a scope of work to basically show that whole process? And I think this is perfect for you too.
I guess two things. Unfortunately, it's probably not as technical as you think. Once you get involved in it and you get hands-on in it, you know when you're looking at it. So I was the repo man for 15 years, serviced give or take 3,000 bank-owned homes annually, not including reoccurring orders, doing grass cuts, etc. So when you're around construction and real estate for that long, you get very well versed just by looking at the age of the property. Example, I mean, if you're dealing with a 1920 older City of Buffalo home, you're dealing with galvanized piping, cast iron drains, two-wire knob and tube, and I mean, if you don't have electrical and plumbing in your budget, shame on you. Same thing essentially with your Cheektowaga, Tonawanda, West Seneca, your capes and ranches, you're dealing with 1950 homes, and you're running into a lot of those same issues. So if it's something I'm planning on taking to the retail market, I'm budgeting in the background for the mechanical issues that I know that are in there. Glad to share this with anybody in the audience, but we have a bunch of custom-built rehab calculators that help us push that out, and they're on a sliding scale. I think we've got on our renovations anywhere from a level 0 to a level 7. If I'm doing a fire damage burnout, I'm going closer to 100, 150 a square foot. If I'm doing a cosmetic paint and carpet, then I'm applying $15, $20 a square foot and running with those from that direction.
I would say just ask Phil how to get that like software that he created. That's what you wrote down.
Yeah, and generally as a GC, you're working with a lot of subcontractors like plumbers, HVAC, electrical, so we have an idea of roughly what those costs are. For if you're doing like a full rehab, you're always looking at like between 10 and 20 grand depending on the size of the house on those mechanics. And then just based off that, the rest of the finishes and stuff like that.
And like 1,200 square foot is costing us like $75,000, give or take at the moment, if I'm touching pretty much everything. Maybe I'm doing the roof on one, the HVAC, the electric, the plumbing on the other, but it's a heavy lift that's a safe number for my cost.
I'm getting old. How many of you remember being able to do that exact same flip for $30,000? Just show your age. Yeah, exactly. 75 grand. Whew.
We put out a very nice product. I don't want to be arrogant, but we do nice work.
Landlord special type of thing. The caulk and paste.
What are you trying to say?
Okay, our next question. Once an investor brings you a deal, what do you look at first to decide if it's a project that you can deliver on?
Once an investor brings you the deal,
what do you look at first to decide if it's a project that you can deliver on?
what do you look at first to decide if it's a project you can deliver on?
I don't work for investors. I only work for myself. So kind of the same advice I mentioned earlier. I'm looking at scope of work, access to capital, turn time, seasonality. Even if it's something in Dunkirk, I don't want to own that in January. It's just too fucking far. It raises a whole nother headache. I guess, again, I don't work for an investor, so I really can't speak to that one.
So we're working for a bunch of investors, and usually what we start with is understanding the budget. So at the end of the day, as an investor, you have to make a profit, and that's why you're doing real estate. So you want to make a profit. And we try to understand the budget. So based on the house, the condition it's in, and from that, we work on the budget with how much, what can we save? Can we save the windows? Can we save the roof? What can you save in this house? So that way you don't have to over budget, and a lot of times these houses in our areas are always over budget, and there's always problems, there's always issues or things you can make better. So you just look at the main things, the kitchens, the bathrooms, the floors, the fixing up the walls, and understanding those main things that any homeowner is going to go in and they're going to see those little micro issues. Those are the issues you focus on, and then also mechanics, making sure the mechanics are good, the plumbing, the electrical, HVAC. So once all that's set up, and you could work on pretty much finishing the cosmetics.
I got something I can add. Very grateful to have a bunch of staff members and vendors here this evening. So, I mean, when it's coming down to presenting a deal to an investor, having numbers from these individuals are great. If I can kind of point out a few people, we got Fran Cunningham in the blue, electric services, rewiring, etc. Got Mr. Doug looking fly in the beard and the plaid shirt there. Trees, demo, the ugly stuff, so to speak. We got Pat with PCS plumbing in the green in the back, plumbing, HVAC, utilities, underground work. Pat Donlin, AAA trash here in the front. Got John Keem, decks and gazebos in the back. But I mean, being able to pick up the phone and come down to some sort of a relatively close price quickly adds a bunch of value.
Okay, when someone presents a deal, what makes it attractive to you as a lender? When someone presents a deal, what makes it attractive to you as a lender?
Yeah, so as a lender, when I get a deal, the only deals I look at are deals on Private Money Club, because I know it's in a format that gives me the information that I want, or at least enough to get started. The first thing I'm looking for is, does that deal fit my criteria? My criteria is very simple. I want to be first. I don't want to be last. I watched Talladega Nights one too many times. Ricky Bobby's dad laid it out clear as ever. Son, if you're not first, you're last. And you know what? I think in lending it's the same thing. So I want to be in first position. Secondarily, I want to lend to somebody on a deal that I'm comfortable with, a deal that I understand the scope. And I think with any investing, even stocks, bonds, anything else outside of real estate, you should only invest in things that you know, like, and understand. So if somebody brings me like some type of an exotic Airbnb with this crazy thing, I'm going to shy away from it just because I don't know that business. I don't understand that business, and I just have reservations about it. The other thing too is, when you're dealing with a lender, like we're going to think from a couple things. What's in it for me? So what is the interest rate you're willing to pay? That's what's in it. So right now, like I'll lend between 12 and 15%. And to be quite honest, like, and some of you understand this, if somebody brought me a deal that was at 20%, I'm literally going to shy away from your deal, which I know doesn't seem right, but it's because that shows me that you got to charge or you got to pay 20%. There's got to be some risks. So I'm going to shy away from the higher interest rate deals, because to me that means there's a material issue that you have to pay more to get to attract money. Where I've seen deals on Private Money Club at 10% from reputable borrowers that I know have a good track history, I'm like, 10% gets my money working at a pretty good rate. I know there's deals on there for 20, but I think I'll go with the 10. I will sometimes go with a lower interest rate for a better operator. And that's the last thing I would say I'm always looking for in every deal that I will look at. Every deal I see on PMC, I'm looking at who's the operator, what do I know about them, what are they telling me about themselves, and have they had a good track history, and is there testimonials that they can give or people that can vouch that they've done what they said they were going to do when times got tough. And this is always the thing. Listen, like, as a lender, and I think I can speak for most lenders, we know you're going to go through troubles. We know things aren't going to work out the way they're supposed to be. We know you're going to, sometimes run over. We know you're going to just have issues. Just be transparent with us. Let us know. Like, if your deal's coming to maturity, 12 months, and you're like still another 6 months out, don't wait till 11 months to let us know that you're going to be running behind. Let us know you're running behind, saying, hey, I think I might need an extension. Are you going to be okay with that? Or should I go out and try to raise capital to take you out? That shows, that somebody is being transparent. They're being honest. I know that. So that's what I'm looking for. Somebody that is transparent, somebody's got some track history on it, but somebody that knows how to structure their deal the way I want to see it and has good ethics. Ethics are far more important than your deal. So stop putting all the emphasis on the deal, put more emphasis on you and why you're a good operator, why you're going to come through, and even if shit falls apart, why you're going to dig deep and do the hard work to make sure that I get my money and I'm paid on time. That's really what matters.
I guess same question, but from the borrower's perspective. I think we've got, give or take, right under $4 million in private capital at the moment that is used to run our fix and flip projects. Everybody that I'm borrowing from, for the most part, is local, and they have an understanding of the market and how real estate works. So it makes the transactional ease a lot easier. When they're underwriting something that they're familiar with to begin with, I know Chris mentioned give them access to your bank account and full transparency and et cetera, but it's not required. For the most part, they can do just a jog at the address and a couple photos and tell you if you're an idiot or not. So I'm looking for more transactional ease. Also, what we've done in the background is everybody that's ever lent to us, I've never paid anybody back. The funds go back into escrow at the point of sale and sit in my attorney's office. So it does create situations where I'm paying interest on capital that is not in play, but in the same conversation, I am not paying origination points and I am not paying or mortgage taxes. We're using a spreading agreement to transfer the mortgage from one property to the next. And as somebody that's very transactional like myself, you're going to get more of the cost savings by not having to pay the origination fees and not have to pay the mortgage taxes. I guess at the moment we're like between 9 and 12%. So some of the rates aren't the most favorable, but the terms involved in it make life a lot easier. I'm also getting 100% of purchase and 100% of repair up front. If we're buying an asset for 100, we have to pump another 100 into it. It's worth 250 or 300. I am not fronting the construction money. I am not having to deal with the draw process and the fees that are involved in that. Everything is up front, and it just makes life a lot easier when you're a transactional investor.
Can I ask you a question? Like, how long did it take you to build that relationship with those lenders where they would just let that money kind of flow from deal to deal and just sit in escrow? Because that's not common, but that's really smart.
Some of these individuals I've known for 10, 15 years. At the end of the day, I was a drug dealer to your local real estate investor. They didn't like me because I had nice tits. They liked me because of the product that I was selling. So a lot of these relationships were worked out previously, and when things evolve, life happens, people get older, people get younger. It makes those conversations and transactions a lot easier.
Love it. So for the folks that are brand new or just looking at their first couple deals, like they wouldn't have those relationships, how would you advise that they get, started and kind of begin that? Because they can't probably do what you're doing.
I mean, it starts with yourself. I mean, you're sitting here at the moment with the PMC and pushing funds out that way, developing a relationship with yourself. Mr. Cunningham and Mr. Kusk are in the crowd. Those are two individuals that have lent me money in the past and continue to lend me money. But I mean, transparency is the biggest thing.
Love that.
And I mean, if you're at all concerned about the deal, don't bring that one to a lender, especially the first time. If you're trying to get involved with somebody and get a relationship going, try to find a grand slam. Don't look for a base hit.
Love it.
Usually, as the contractor, we're usually dealing with the draws, and for like flips and whatever, the rentals and rehabs, you're usually, you have to get a project to a certain point to be able to get a certain draw sometimes. So we just try to make sure we get that certain point done on time and up to a certain portion of the project completed.
So, can you give an example where the deal looked great on paper, but the team or financing side caused problems? Can you give an example where the deal looked great on paper, but the team or financing side caused problems?
So the deal looks good on paper, which in today's world, that's easy to get every deal to look good on paper, but the team or the financing created problems.
I mean, at the moment, I've got 21 direct employees and probably 100 people between vendors and everything else. So it comes down to access to resources or people. I have a very solid Rolodex there. That said, nobody is perfect. Out of 116 flips, we missed twice. 549 Longmeadow is the first example of that. I dedicate that house to PCS Plumbing. Pat is there in the back, but ended up dropping 26 pine trees in Amherst that led to sewer line issues, water line issues. Had to dig up the driveway in order to access those utilities. Had to put French drainage in the back in order to accommodate for a swampland. Amherst is a swamp if nobody else was involved with that. But I mean, expensive lessons do happen. I think that house ended up costing me like $28,000 by the time I was done with it.
Thanks for Christmas.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how?
And I wasn't upset with the plumbing prices. Giving you some credit, it was the scope of work was through the roof.
Seems like every flipper or real estate investor remembers the deals that didn't go well, but you probably can't name off all the ones that did work.
Correct. You are correct.
How about you?
So pretty much every part of the construction process is having the right team in every standpoint. So like having the right plumbers, having the right electricians, and pretty much making sure the timelines are set so everybody could get their shit done on time pretty much, because at the end of the day, in reality, everybody has issues, and trying to make sure that things get done on time is the biggest thing. Especially as an investor, you have a bunch of money tied up and you're paying interest. So making sure the project gets done on time is where having a good team comes in, because at the end of the day, that's where you have to make the money.
I feel like the biggest mistake we made when we did them, and we did 272 to 274 flips, was we always seemed to be light on the contracting side. Like we would always think we're over, and then we get into it and we didn't budget enough money for that. So there was so many times where we're in the deal. It was perfect on paper. Everything should have worked out, but a building inspector comes in, and we love our building inspectors, right? So they come in, and all of a sudden your budget just gets another $30,000 added to it because the building inspector just had a different plan than you, and you got to go along with them. And the other thing, I'm surprised you guys haven't mentioned this yet. I must have been the only sucker. Every house we did, and it really wasn't, but it seemed like every house we did, we'd get to like the finish point, where like you're just doing the finish work. You've been on my deals like this. All the stuff is done. Everything looks beautiful. You're like, yes, we're finally going to nail it on this one. And then all of a sudden, it would start pissing rain out. And then you walk in the basement one day when you're like 2 days away from listing it, and the basement's got water. Every deal had this issue. It was always at the very end. Like after you had painted the basement, we come back and there's water in the basement. So then, you're calling Frank's and they're coming out and it's like, hey, this is going to be 10 grand. We got to put drain tile in. It was always drain tile. Does anyone else ever have that problem, or was I just cursed?
I just had that problem.
So I'm not alone. Yeah? But are you at the finish line?
Literally the same thing.
Yeah.
The day before.
Dude, it's a Buffalo thing, folks. So anyone watching here online, like you guys don't have these issues, but this is a Buffalo thing. I think they were just cursed.
I had a sump pump failure.
Oh, that's not the same.
What you just touched on is all velocity of capital. If you're taking a punch list item and you're dragging it out another 30 days, your lender costs, your holding costs, everything else just starts to stack in the background. We pride ourselves in trying to be in and out of every construction project in 45 days. And even with that speed on a heavy renovation, our average holding time is right under 6 months. By the time you purchase it, break ground, resell, deal with back on financing and everything else, things take longer than you would expect. And I strongly encourage everybody to budget another month, budget another 2 months if you're especially going to be approaching a private lender to finance a deal.
Yeah. The banker always wins, right?
Pretty much.
Okay. How many people have walked away from a deal before? Jen Pop, anybody walk away from a deal before? Oh, everything's cool.
Who's walked away from a deal?
How many of you guys ever been in a deal where you should have walked away from it before? If your hand hasn't gone up, you must just be getting started.
Yeah, there's many a deals you should have walked away from.
Give us some reasons why you guys have walked away from a deal.
Walked away from a deal?
Yep.
I'll be honest, like I've walked away from deals just because I didn't like the realtor. They were arrogant, they were kind of pushy, and I could find deals, so I would walk away from deals for that. A lot of times you get into a deal and you're kind of running the numbers, and then you bring a couple contractors out and they give you their numbers and you're like, wow, that's way more than what I thought. So I think that's another really important thing is if you got the time before you buy the property, try to get some of your crew in there to give you a kind of a general scope of work or a general estimate on what it's going to cost. And I walked away from many deals for that very reason. The one reason I never walked away from a deal was money. That's definitely what I could say. How about you, Phil?
Oh, the first thing that comes to mind are tenants. Chris touched on this earlier, but they're essentially your bastard children. You did not birth them, but they are your problem in the eyes of New York State. I've got 2 buildings at the moment, one in South Buffalo on Houston I've owned since last September, and I am still going through fucking eviction court. And I've got a 4-unit on Lawson and Cheektowaga where we were only able to clear 2 people on that. So, I mean, being bit in the butt from it in the past and just having access to deal flow, I would much rather sell that downstream to another investor. We're doing about 160, 170 deals a year. And when I'm picking and choosing what we're going to take down independently, tenants are definitely a huge factor in that.
I'm usually aiming for the slam dunks, so for me, it's the money aspect, and then the other part of it is making sure there's not too much stuff to do. If it's like a full rehab with foundation issues and structural issues and a roof, window, and it just needs a whole thing where sometimes you just want to just tear it down and just rebuild fresh, those are the deals I usually try to stay away from. At that point, you're better off just buying the land.
Okay, so Phil, you may really want to answer this question. This came from the internet here. Are off-market deals dead? Because it seems like Buffalo is one of the most competitive markets for off-market deals, and people are dumping $20,000 to $30,000 a month just in marketing. So, do you recommend looking for off-market deals, or should you find deals some other way?
Let me just repeat that, or unless you want to, are you having trouble finding off-market deals, and how are people spending $30,000, $40,000 a month in marketing just to get these deals?
I'm spending $70,000 to $80,000 a month in marketing. So if you have the infrastructure,
I'm gonna go get a beer.
Yeah, I'll take one. So yeah, I mean, it has definitely become more competitive. At the end of the day, Buffalo is still a B metro area. There is much more competition in Dallas, Phoenix, Scottsdale, etc., than there is in Buffalo. At the end of the day, I don't look at the competition as a bad thing, and I don't look at, I guess, lack of inventory as a bad thing. Only the strong will survive. I'm waiting for it to eliminate a bunch of the cockroaches. I'm going to be here regardless. Our processes, our decision-making, our access to capital, our speed to transaction, our customer service, our ability to solve sellers' problems is what we strive in. Without the lead generation engine in the background, I wouldn't be up here having this conversation. There's no flip, there's no rental, there's no tenant. So I am not at all discouraged by the competition in the market. Would I encourage a new investor to go and spend $35,000 on mail or pay-per-click ads or anything? No, I think you're a dumbass. I didn't have any money when I started the lead generation side of things. It was all me ripping the phones. If somebody's looking for a cost-effective way into lead generation, go get a Mojo dialer or a Call Tools. Buy a list. You're talking about spending a few $100 or $1,000 versus going more of the inbound approach. We're on television, mail, radio, pay-per-click, SEO, Facebook. We do all sorts of lead generation. So I wouldn't take it as discouraging. You just have to understand where you are in the evolution of your investment career and where to source deals. You may be better off paying extra money and buying from a wholesaler such as myself or Matt or Taras, or I see a couple other individuals.
Who are the wholesalers in here? Put your hand up. Couple?
Okay, there's 2 wholesalers.
2 wholesalers.
Okay. Market's wide open.
Well, 3 with Phil.
Okay. Okay, Dimitri, You know, you gotta talk about your experience in 2022, where you first dove into wholesaling, calling out people in Florida. What was that experience like? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Please talk about it.
That was repeat the question though, because this is a good one.
So that's when we got into...
Give me the question though first.
For the online audience.
Oh, so the question is what I did in 2022 so I was starting land flipping, and so I paid for this course, and I started learning about wholesaling nationally, and essentially it was based on mailers. We were sending out mail to buy land, and it was all across the country, so you pick a county, and you'd want to pick specifically a county anywhere around the states. So I picked like Florida, South Carolina, some in like Washington, and I'd pick like hot areas with a bunch of land in those areas, and we would look for, I would send out the mailers. Once those were sent out, I'd get a bunch of calls. Like there's like 50 people calling you a week, and they're looking for selling their land. You send them an offer, and I realized with land, it doesn't sell quick at all. By the time I list it, I'd find somebody like a realtor to list it for me in that area, and it took like 3, 4, 5 months for just people to even give interest on that. And what the issue I ran into is not being able to even afford keeping up with the costs that were coming in. You're spending like tens of thousands of dollars a month just on marketing, but by the time you sell that deal and make 30 grand on it, you're already like so much in debt. So like that didn't really work out just because of how long land takes to sell. I don't know if that's how it is in Buffalo, but
his cash conversion cycle was too long. So he didn't have enough money banked or budgeted up front in order to sustain the marketing and deal with the follow-up and everything else that has to deal with it. Just our time of ownership is close to 6 months, so from the point we purchase to the point we resell, if we're looking at it from the date that a lead enters our pipeline to the date that it cash flows, you're talking more than a fiscal year in a lot of situations. It's all about follow-up. So if you don't have the capital in the background to sustain a large marketing budget, and more importantly, the infrastructure, because if you're not having physical touch points with these sellers and solving their problems and staying front of mind in the background, it's all just a waste of money. Go out in the parking lot, grab some gas, and just burn your fucking wallet.
that's how I started contracting.
So you guys, let's paint a hypothetical situation. Really quickly, let's get a gauge for the audience. How many people in here have been in real estate for a year or less? Please raise your hand. One person. Okay, 3 or 4 people. How many people 5 years or less? And how many people pre-COVID? Pre-COVID, where are my OG players at? Okay. So now we know the experience level in the room. I got a question for all 3 of you. If you were to start all over today with nothing more than $10,000 in your pocket, where would you start your real estate career? And what avenues would you go down? Would you want to be financing? Would you want to be flipping? Would you want to be wholesaling? So if you started with $5,000, $10,000 in the bank right now, and you're brand new to the scene, what avenue would you pursue in getting wealthy with real estate?
So if I was just starting again, so this is today, 2025.
2020, yeah, bank this in.
I've never done a deal, and I got 10 grand. I'll be honest with you, today's market is so much different than when I was doing it. I would probably go to RIAs like this. I would become part of communities that have people successful. I would sit probably in the front row or maybe the back row, and I'd watch and I'd see who are the OGs, who are the people that really know how to do this. And I would use the 10 grand is either, I'd probably just sit on it and I would literally find a way to solve one of these, like Phil. I'd sit back there and I would really be thinking, what problems does Phil have? And I would try to think, okay, I got 10 grand. How could I use this 10 grand to solve a problem for Phil so he'll let me in on a deal? Or Dimitri, for example, how could I use my 10 grand to solve a problem for Dimitri so that he'll bring me in on a deal or at least let me in on something? Because that's really the secret sauce. as you're in the beginning, you're undercapitalized, you don't have the network, you don't, know the people or what to do. So to learn, you can either pay to play, you can go out there and hire a coach, get a mentor. I mean, some of these coaching programs, I know I paid the first one $27,000. It made me sick to my stomach. I remember swiping that card. It was so bad. Sorry, I got to go into this one. We go to this event. Many of you have been to them. You go to this event, they pitch you from the front, and then you buy into this like $299 3-day course, which we went to. I bought the course. It was $2,000. I came home, told my wife. She was pissed. And then she went, because she's like, I want to see what you spent our $2,000 on. And during this 3 days, we learned so much. But I remember they had us on one of the lunch breaks. They told us how to increase the limit on our credit card. And I think, oh, why not? Yeah, let's do this. Oh, how to increase the limit on my credit card. So all lunch, I'm calling Visa. I'm like, saying all the things they did. And lo and behold, they increased my limit to $25,000. And then at the end, guess what the pitch was? $25,000. I bought it, and I did that, so we had to do that. But I would never do that today. I would probably today save the money on like the big coaching plan with the fancy stars, and I would use that money to find a way to go to somebody in my market that was crushing it, and then either use my time that I had to solve their problem or use the $10,000 to do something that would benefit them. And that's how I would do it today.
For the most part, I completely agree with Chris. I mean, unless you want to start selling crack, $10,000 is not going to cover your capital costs for inventory in the real estate market.
You know a thing or two about crack?
My statute of limitations is expired. I have not personally sold crack, but yeah, I may or may not have had a past. But if with that level of capital, you're going to have to look at an alternative asset class, and that asset class may or may not be legal. Mentorship is definitely the way to do it. Mr. Fran here in the blue is definitely a mentor of mine. His own rental property his entire life. I did construction work on his properties when I was in college, and now I actually own the same property that I was doing construction work on.
That's really cool.
That turned into a seller finance deal. Mr. Mark, not trying to point you out there in the back either, the quiet guy in the corner, but same relationship. I met him through working with Roberts, and through time, things have evolved, but you're going to learn more from somebody that has done it before, and education becomes invaluable at that point in time, rather than risking what you have. If you're really trying to push the envelope and you understand underwriting a deal and identifying what a deal is, then with a limited marketing budget, I'm living proof of that. I would get some data and start ripping cold calls. You better be addicted to working the phone, because that $10,000 is maybe going to buy you a month or two. And if you're not closing things and wholesaling things, building a buyer's list, understanding the demand in your market on what people are looking for, you're going to choke yourself out real fast.
So I'm pretty much I did exactly what Chris and Phil mentioned, where I didn't have the $10,000, and I started going to these real estate events, specifically this one, and there's multiple other ones in Buffalo. And I'd also meet people and kind of figure out the game. How do you do real estate? How do you find a deal? How do you know the scope of work? And finding out every avenue, because each avenue also is an exit strategy. And pretty much that's how I started off. I was trying to find a way to get in, and I started contracting, and I figured out, okay, well, this cost, putting this floor is $1,000, putting this window is whatever, $200, and then you slowly add this cost up, and then you figure out that, all right, well, to do a house, it's $30,000, and then to do this house, it was $50,000, and then as time went on, then you can utilize that to doing your own flips. So that's pretty much how I started doing it, and I guess it's working out.
Hey, I remember, like, when you were in the office in those early years, I would, like, give him at the end of the year, we would prepare all of our, like, reports for the CPA and, like, the cash receipts. And I'd give him these giant, like, envelopes full of cash receipts from the petty cash stuff. You know, when you're in real estate, sometimes you're just dishing cash out, dishing checks out, and we would just put them all in, and he'd have to go through and create the spreadsheets. And I'm sure you hated every minute of it, but,
I actually like that part. Putting spreadsheets, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, but that's where you were identifying, like, well, this costs this, that costs this, and you kind of started learning some debits and credits in the bookkeeping side. That's interesting. Yeah, I like that. Sometimes you just got to start at the bottom and do the hard work.
The relationship with myself and Dimitri, using that as a prime example of this, he's probably done 30, 40 flips for me. In the same conversation, we've now sold him 3 or 4 deals. He's able to flip on his own. He's able to hold rentals through that. He's met my vendor network. Hey, I need a plumber. I need an electrician. I need a lender. It's all about watching people grow, and if you're not willing to share those resources, just get out of the fucking room.
And I'll tell you, I had a property I bought back in 2014. It's out in Lockport, 471 Hawley, and we bought it for a song. I mean, back then, I think I paid 24 grand for that house. We renovated it. I rented it out for $1,000 a month from 2014 till 2025. The tenant went scumbag, as they often will, stopped paying. We evicted him, which was real fun. He's threatened to sue me probably 24 times. Didn't sue me, but
you got me beat there, but similar situations.
Okay. And then he literally, I hired Dimitri. I had him come in because like I'm kind of out of the game. I didn't have the network, and I called Dimitri, and he came in, and he like literally did all of the scope of work for me, like you were asking. He kind of said, all right, your budget's, what was it, 40 grand, I think you said? 40 grand. And he just knocked it out of the park, like crushed this house, did it so fast. And then
I think we did it in like 4 weeks.
It was so fast, and it was a full redo, except for the outside. You didn't really have to do anything on the outside. Siding was good, roof was good. And then I sent a property inspector, like a home inspector. I sent one of them through, and he like nickel and dimed the place. I mean, to the point where it's just ridiculous. But I'm like, hey, listen, if I'm going to list this on the MLS, I already have like I just don't love realtors. I hate home inspectors, so let's see what they're going to come up with. So they went through it, and then I went back to you, and I said, hey, let's identify all these items, which then was add-ons. But we did it, and the property never even made it to the MLS. Like we literally, I don't know what happened, but somebody came about, said, hey, do you got any property? I said, yeah, we just finished this one, and we sold it for 130 grand. So we'll walk away with probably, I haven't got the electrical bill yet, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's going to be a good, big one.
Well, it better not be. Somewhere around 30 to 40 grand, on a property, but we penciled that property the whole time. So it is really about the team that you know. So you got your team here too, some of them?
Yeah, we got Dan over there.
Yeah.
He helps me with project managing and overseeing with the amount of people we have. Like I only have so much time to go see every project and oversee every single problem and figure out every little thing that is going on in every house. So Dan helps out with that, and then we have a couple other managers who run their project, and then at the same time we also have a delivery guy. Every day he just everybody shows up, makes a list, and this guy just goes and picks up the Home Depot runs, because that's a full-time job in itself. With going to Home Depot, finding the stuff, picking up the windows, the doors, half a day's gone.
That's crazy. This whole building, just so you all know, he did all the drywall here. So this was just a garage, and he came in, and this took you like a week.
Yeah,
did all the drywall, banged this thing
hang it
out.
up and finish it.
So
Ready for paint.
again, so much of it's about the team.
One more comment on that, a couple more shout outs. We got Craig Snyder here in the front. He does all of my property insurance, business insurance, liability, umbrellas, policies, workers' comp, etc. Craig has been great to me. I'm glad he's able to make it here. If anybody wants to connect with him, please reach out. We got Dr. Rick Borman there in the back, closing attorney extraordinaire, evictions, estates, you name it. He just got me out of jail in order to make it to this event on time, so he might be your dumb shit attorney as well. I don't know where Miss Borman is, or formerly Miss Barsh, but real estate broker, agent, very investor friendly, knows her stuff.
Get to know that woman, for sure.
Strongly encourage everybody here to get to know one another.
All right. How many people in here are landlords? Quick show of hands.
Wow.
Let's hear some really awesome stories. So a few quick things.
Gosh.
You are a landlord. If you are not in banking, you're missing out. evictors. We're going to have evictions. Chris, tell us the story about the woman who climbed the house because you evicted her, you low down son of a bitch.
Oh, there's so much more to that. You only nipped the surface on my house scaler. So we used to go, like the way we bought houses and the way we found deals, you know, when I was doing this was very different than the way you do it. I mean, we didn't have 70 grand a month to spend on marketing. We built relationships with estate planning attorneys. We built relationships with estate clean out places where they would run estate sales. You know, we basically just went around and found everybody that we could build a relationship with that potentially could bring us a deal before it hit the market. And we offered $500 for them. So like we became the vacation fund for most of these folks. And there was this deal that we bought downtown at the little alcove. Anyone buy a house at the alcove? Okay, so we used to go to the alcove. You know, I was down there with the regulars, budging elbows. It's a tiny little space. You just got to be a rough cut person to kind of survive there. And I bought a property there. It was a nice location. You never know what you're really going to get, but we got it. This is right before COVID hits. So closings around here take quite some time. So, you know, 30, 45 days happens before we close, even though it's an all-cash deal. We close on the property. Well, I send my project manager over there, to which she then reports back somebody's living there. I said, that's impossible. It's vacant. We looked at it right before we closed. It was vacant. She said, no, somebody's living there. And when I went up to the door, she came out with a baseball bat. So problem number one, we now had a tenant that we didn't know we had, called a squatter. This is right up your alley. To make the matters worse, I knew that you have to evict them. You can't just get them out. And this woman, we had got the rap sheet on her from the police, who would do absolutely nothing, because we would call the police every time we go there that she'd threaten us. And they said, you can't touch her, you can't do anything. I'm like, I can't shoot her? They said, no. Damn it, we live in the wrong state. In Texas, you just shoot them and you're done. Just kidding, folks. Totally joking. Don't even have any guns. Anyway, so we went through the eviction process, and COVID hits, and we all know the rest. I said that earlier, right? COVID hits, we can't evict her. A full year transpires. Now remember, I'm paying interest on this house. I've got carry costs on this house. We tried everything to get this woman out. We tried bribing her with money. We tried everything. She was a meth addict. So one day, and I'd made friends with the neighbor. I probably shouldn't even say this publicly, but whatever. You guys all signed an NDA, right? Yep. So one day, the neighbor who we'd made friends with calls me up and says, hey, she's on a drug run. So I sent my contractor over there to board up every single door and every window, which we did. I mean, lag bolted this son of a bitch. Every window except for the attic window on the back of the house. Because, I mean, that shouldn't be an issue. I get a freaking call from the neighbor. The neighbor's like, you're never going to fucking believe this. Your tenant, we had a great relationship, is scaling the back of the house, and we are placing bets as to whether she falls and dies. Anyway, end of story. Tenant never came back. We went in there. She destroyed the place. You did that renovation. Remember that one? The one with the rats? Oh, God, I don't remember.
The one in Buffalo?
Yeah, the Buffalo one you did. It was like literally like you might as well have just built a new house. You want to talk about that?
I don't even know where to start with that one, because it still didn't turn out perfect.
No, but we actually made money on it, believe it or not. With all the carry costs and everything, we actually made money.
So the second you walk in the front door, there's like 4 additions to that house. It goes like one house in the front, then another addition in the middle, and then towards the back, and then there was another one in the back. So it was like 4 additions. The whole floor, the second you walk in, it was just sloped. You could throw a ball, and that thing will get to the end of the house. I don't know how many feet that is, but yeah, that house was a piece of work.
You guys did a good job.
We had to gut
with
that one and redo all the kitchen, the floor, the drywall had to be redone. I mean, it turned out pretty decent, but.
And that was at the point where I was like just at the end of it, right? You know, everything has an end. And I was just so checked out, so burned out. I just couldn't even fathom going there anymore. So if I didn't have you, I probably would have just left that house and just walked away from it.
Okay, well, we got a question here from the internet. What are you guys doing with your flip profits? What are you guys doing with your flip profits?
Phil, what are you doing with your flip profits?
Reinvest.
So I have a very significant overhead. I think our break even at this point in time is give or take $454,000 a month.
Oh.
3 years ago, it was me and an executive assistant. I've grown the business to up to 21 staff members at the moment. So the majority of our capital made on our flip profits are getting reinvested in deals. In the same conversation, ordinary income is the worst type of tax they have. And being a flipper, and if you're in and out through the door, I hear landlords bitching and complaining about capital gains. Well, you're talking 16% capital gains to 35% in ordinary income. So any capital that is not going to be needed in order to cover the nut involved in running a business of this scale is getting reinvested into rentals, and then we're cost-segging our rentals to get the accelerated depreciation benefits involved with that in order to scrub our taxable income.
So as a contractor, I'm pretty much just reinvesting in the next deal. So any profit I'll make on the one deal, I'll still use that money from whatever I put into it and the profits, and then I'll put it in the next one. And then at this point, we're getting some rental properties as well, and then just keep the ball rolling.
Mine's always been the same. I take the profits, I roll them into my specially designed whole life, and then I just reposition that money and lend it back out. Just keep doing the same thing.
Okay. So was the goal ever to be free and clear?
My goal is to have no rentals.
Oh, man, that's a tough question. I mean, I guess in the perfect world, yes, there is no rental, but without leverage, I wouldn't be cool enough to have this conversation. So I'm still relatively new into my cycle through real estate investing, only been buying and selling assets for 6 years at this point in time, and I'm more concerned with building that rental portfolio, we're up to 46 units, than I am about having free and clear rentals. So when you're new to the game, I think you strongly need to get comfortable with that and apply leverage. And towards the end of your career, yes, you absolutely need to look at owning things free and clear and being able to 1031 or put them into an opportunity zone and have an exit strategy for your portfolio.
What's your goal with that?
So I'm pretty much just refinance any rentals I have. I'm just refinancing. I'm going for the long game. I'm planning 15 to 30 years, and I'm willing to keep whatever I can. So I'm pretty much redoing most of the renovations, putting in new kitchens, new bathrooms. If I have the budget for the plumbing, electrical, HVAC, I put that new systems in and then just kind of forget about it. Just do the regular maintenance and have a property I don't have to worry about. So that's pretty much what I'm doing.
I will say one thing I did, the next evolution, so I didn't used to do this when we were in the mix of it, but since that whole COVID part where I sold them all, I mean, we still have eight rentals, had them for a long time, and a lot of those rentals, what I've done is we had them all with Alden State Bank. That was my premier bank that we borrowed pretty much, for all of our deals. And as of the last 5 years, what I've been doing is buying out Alden, because rates on commercial mortgages, you usually get a rate lock of anywhere 5, maybe 7, 10 years, right? And then after that, your rate resets. Well, I got to ride from the low interest rate cycle to the high interest rate cycle. So when they came due, in the last couple of years, they were going to reset at 8%. I said, piss on that. So what I did is I used my private banking system. I bought those mortgages out, paid them off in full, and made the exact same payment I would have paid to Alden at their new rate, the 7%, and I just pay it back to my private banking system. So that's what I've done. I haven't made it through all of our rentals now, but like 471 Hawley I did that on, 483 Hawley, 4855 East I did that on, and then we're soon going to do it on our East Ave property. But we have a partner there, so I kind of got to get him to do half, and so there's complications, but that's what I've done. So like my whole game, and I said it earlier, like I just don't want any rentals, but I want to get paid without all the headaches that come along with rentals, and that's how I've been able to do it, is just instead of paying somebody else, I pay myself.
I don't like variable rate mortgages. Everything that we cash out on a rental is 30-year fixed. you're pretty much paying prime +1. If traditional mortgage rates are in the 6s or high 5s at the moment, on average you're paying another point over than that. I have rental loans between the low 6s to mid 8s. I make sure my equity position is appropriate. I'm not looking for the volatility and the potential of an interest rate rise. And I mean, at the end of the day, for the most part, a lot of the terms being offered at the moment are 3-2-1. So you're not paying any points if you cash it out earlier. The market goes in your favor, and you can obtain a lower rate on the market.
Let's get tactical with this. What bank are you having luck with? Because most of the banks, they do have that, that rate lock period. So what bank are you getting 30-year fixed on commercial?
Big shout out to Tim Harriage with Turnus, but he has been doing all my DSCR loans at the moment. Being honest, you're paying probably another $1,500 on transactional fees going through there. But as somebody that's high volume, he's been able to close a DSCR loan for me in New York in under 2 weeks. Previous to that, I was going through Chiavi and RCN, but Tim and Turnus have done the last 10 for me, and it's based off the communication. When I'm high volume, I don't want to be a number. I want a name and a face, and if there's a fucking problem, I need to know who to call.
Yeah, those are, I know all of the, I actually know the founder of RCN. I know Tim well through the Billionaire Boardroom Mastermind. So like, he just named off 3. You should have written all those down. Those are all really, really good lenders. And a lot of times you only meet those lenders either doing the volume he is or being in their presence, being in a mastermind that they're at. And all those guys, the owners of those companies he just mentioned, all those guys are active in masterminds like Family Mastermind, Boardroom Mastermind,
Collective Genius, Investor Fuel.
Yep. So that's how you meet these people, because some of you are probably like, well, how did you meet all these folks? You get out there.
It's not cheap. I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on continuing education via masterminds, but if you're willing to apply yourself and take things seriously, it's a game changer. It's all relationships.
We had a question. Do you have a question?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so when it comes back to renovating and flipping properties, do you guys have any goals in terms of volume or scale that you would like to get to? And if so, what are some of the most significant bottlenecks or obstacles that you run into that prevent you from scaling? Is it like the number of people you have or marketing or if any?
So for the online, so what is your goal for the flips you're doing? Like how many do you want to do? And then the second part was what challenges do you have to hitting those goals?
I mean, this year we were shooting to do 80. We're on pace to do 60. You never know. Things can go in our favor or cannot. So, I mean, yes, we set volume goals. We're also looking at profit goals. I think at the moment we're averaging around 52.5 is our average gross profit per flip. In the same conversation that comes before overhead, staff, marketing budgets. So I wish I was a fucking multimillionaire, but I am still a pimple on the ass of America. So that everybody understands these numbers clearly. As far as growing and scaling and bottlenecks involved, I still deal with them to that day. Whether it's adding another plumber, adding another electrician, raising more capital, going out farther geographically. Now we're playing 4 counties at once, which just becomes more of a management issue. Blizzards. Hell, during our last snowstorm, I had 18 open renovations, and I'm just watching the news. It's like the power is off here, the power is off here, the power is off here, and I got finished product all over the place that could be turned into a natural disaster at the end of the day. So yeah, I mean, there's definitely issues with trying to come to scale.
I don't envy any of that.
So the bigger you get, the more headaches you deal with, the more people you have. You're dealing with everybody else's problems and pretty much, in a way, solving them, but at the same time, making sure you could keep moving and getting stuff done on time. That's the biggest thing, is just getting it done. Getting it done in that 45 days, 60 days, it's huge.
Turn time is huge. Yeah. My lead carpenter tries to slide tackle a 24-year-old and tears his patella tendon.
Ouch. Who are you trying to tackle? Oh, well, I like his story better.
Slide tackle, slide tackle.
All right. So, as a contractor, what makes an investor someone you want to work with again? What makes an investor someone you want to work with again?
So, not every investor is an investor that you want to work with, because sometimes nobody knows what the hell they're doing. But ideally, you want to work with people who can make quick decisions, and you don't want to deal with like picking a paint color. You don't want to wait a week to find out what color to paint your walls, or what color the trim is going to be, or the doors, and what floors. So you, as an investor, you want to make those decisions quicker, and if not on the spot, and making sure a lot of times it's design and the finished product. That's where it comes to a bigger issue, because towards the end of the project, there's all little things, the faucets, the handles, the countertops, the tile, the grout line. So all those little finishes, you want to get those done and decided on a quicker timeline so that you get the project done quicker.
So I think some examples of things that make our relationship healthy is terms on payment. I don't make vendors wait 30 days to get paid. They submit an invoice. If they need it, we're making next day payment. Access to capital. Dimitri has one of my credit cards in his pocket. If his guys are on a job site and my PMs didn't have the materials there, they don't have to worry about fronting that. They can walk into Home Depot and pick up whatever they need at that point in time. Having materials ahead of them. We are very big on windows are ordered, kitchens are ordered, doors are ordered, any sort of specialty items that have lead time. We have those on track to coming in before they've even seen the fucking house.
Yeah, usually that's like 2-3 weeks every.
Yeah, you need to look at the things that make their lives easier and are more valuable to them, especially if you're dealing with a younger, less established contractor that has more issues. Communication is huge, whether it's myself, Brian, Josh, West. The accessibility to answer questions real time and not stall things. Making sure that you're prepped prior to, before he even walks into the house, or the electricians or the plumbers walk into the house. You have a clean work environment, the demo's done, the interior permit's pulled, the plumber can't pull the permit because it needs to get attached to your general building beforehand. So trying to stay ahead of those logistical shit shows that are just going to end up costing you time and simultaneously costing you money.
Love it. One of the things that my wife always did is to kind of help contractors. My wife had like one model she did in every house. In every house, we would just add a wow factor that would make it our brand. So like we wanted to get it so that when a realtor saw the renovation and saw the house, they're like, oh, that's an LC house. Like that was just what we were trying to do. So we did that with using the same stuff, and it also allowed us to scale, kind of like you're saying. We were able to pre-buy the kitchens, pre-order the granite, and get all that. And then we got discounts on it because we were ordering it in bulk, and then we would just use it as we needed it. I wasn't nearly as refined as you were, but that helped us a lot. Same color palettes, and we would change them as time. You know, we started with one color, and then we went more grays, then we went more whites and blacks, but we always had the same thing. So the contractors we worked with knew exactly what colors to use. They knew our color palettes, they knew the kitchens, they knew everything. So there was just no guesswork. It wasn't like a delay. The contractor just knew what we wanted, and they just did it.
Yeah, that makes the job go so much easier.
Yeah.
Adding value when you're not even involved in the project. So I do have a give for the group. I've got some QR codes on the side, but through Investor Fuel, one of the national masterminds I'm a member of, we get Tier 4 pricing through Home Depot starting January 1. So if anybody's familiar with their Pro Extra program, in order to get Tier 4 pricing, you have to spend $250,000 annually to get subject to these discounts. Through Investor Fuel, I'm able to offer it to myself, my contractors, even this group at no cost to yourself. And starting January 1, even if you spent $10 at Home Depot, it essentially equates to a 13 to 15% price drop on your invoice. now. It's based on product. Lumber, for an example, is a very low margin for the building suppliers. They might even be losing money on it. So you might not be saving money on 2x4s, but you're getting 40% off on lighting, appliances, bathroom fixtures, etc. So again, I'm more than willing to share that later, but it's been a huge advantage to us.
Okay, so for the flipper, what's your process for building a team you can rely on deal after deal? So what is your process for building a team that you can rely on deal after deal?
Man, I wish I was cooler than I was, or where you're going with this question, but I mean, a lot of my hires and employees, we just drop them into the fire. There is not a lot of direction, and we'll figure out real fucking fast if you have any drive or not. So, I mean, that's the realistic answer, and it's not necessarily the best one. Can you ask the question one more time?
Yeah, so when you're building out a team, what are some things that you look for instance? For contractor, subcontractor, etc.
So one of my interview questions, whether I'm hiring an employee or a subcontractor, I specifically ask if they can handle a dick joke. Because if they cannot handle a dick joke, they cannot work here. So you want to get the offensive out of the way right off the bat, or it's just going to turn into a miserable conversation. In addition to that, I strongly suggest WiseHire at the moment. Big positive of working with WiseHire, if you're in the recruiting business, is it's pushing out to a lot of the other job recruitment platforms. So it's synchronizing with Indeed, synchronizing with Monster, and it's preventing you from having to post the same content in multiple websites in order to push it out. The recruiting dashboards are relatively easy to work with. When it's coming down to higher level operations, accounting, finance decisions, I'm very big with personality indexes. I'm not sure if anybody here is familiar with PI, but it's just making sure that you place the right person in the right seat.
Can I just add to that, and I want to get your question too. I'm in a little different industry now, but I will tell you that it doesn't matter what industry you're in. Culture is everything today. If you build a team and that team doesn't understand where you're going, what your culture is, dick joke or no dick joke, like you gotta have a culture and your team's gotta buy into your culture. If your team is not bought into where you're going, the direction, if they don't feel like they're involved in that growth and they're gonna benefit from helping you grow, then especially now more than ever, you're just not gonna keep them. You're not gonna be able to retain them. So I think culture, kind of like you said, is just everything. And especially as you scale quickly and you can't focus on the fun things, you need to make sure that everybody in your organization understands exactly where the compass is pointed, exactly what they're doing, and most importantly, what's in it for them to get you there. And if you don't explain what's in it for them to get to that goal, then you're just going to lose them. They're going to fizzle out. They're going to go find somewhere else to attach to where they feel involved. They feel like they're benefiting from the growth that they're helping you get. That's a really important thing.
I've had to fire 3 people in 6 years, and I've never had an employee quit. And I'm very proud of that statistic. Andrew is my dispositions manager at the moment. Anybody's looking to pick up any of our wholesale or investment deals, let's get you connected with him. But even using him as an example, not everything is about the money. We sold Andrew his first home in Lancaster this year, off the market at a discount, and it comes down to just doing the right thing for the people that help you.
That is.
All right, guys, we got to get some stories here. So let's hear what is one of your most memorable wins or losses or just funny occurrences that have happened to you in your journey from real estate.
So wins, losses, or just funny occurrences? Dimitri.
So my first flip was pretty much my first slam dunk. I found this property on the market. It had a lot of foundation issues, pretty much half the basement we had to do reinforced with I-beams. We had to do drain tile. So it was pretty costly. So we bought it for $150. We had to put in $100 into it, but that was my first $100,000 I made on the first property. So that was, but I put in everything I could. I mean, that house was like perfect. The mulch, everything was like perfect to that house, to the point where it's just like whoever walked in there was overpaying it 100%. So that's kind of what I would do on the first couple deals, is just go all out, making sure it's perfect, but spend your time so the labor cost is insane. So.
What was your turnaround on that deal?
$100,000.
Excuse me, how long were you carrying?
3 months.
3 months, okay.
And that was like 2 bathrooms. We added a bathroom on the second floor, 4 bedrooms, opened up the kitchen, put LVLs. So it's all open concept. Refinished all the hardwood floors. So it was pretty intensive.
Oh, I guess my favorite deals to sell at the moment are wraps. If we're buying it cheap enough, end users willing to come down with a decent chunk of change. Just sold one in Lackawanna. I think we bet or paid $75,000 for. I didn't do much. I think we put 5 into it on miscellaneous conventional repairs. Also sold this to my demo contractor, but she came to the table with 100 down, so I was able to repay my private lender, and then I sold it with a mortgage attached to it. So I mean, I'm getting 9% interest on that, hedging against my ordinary income or tax bill at the end of the day, and deferring that through interest income. So I'm a big fan of wraps. Anything that we acquire that's already conventionally financeable, if I have the option not to do improvements on it, and yeah, it's dated, it still looks like 1950, but it's clean and it can qualify for bank financing. Those are a lot of my favorite deals. I mean, by the time you can shrink your holding time from 6 months to 3 months really fast, and it becomes relatively financially lucrative. I guess those are my favorite deals. Oh, kind of similar to Chris's story, although they weren't climbing up the, walls to get into the property. Bought a property in Dunkirk, ended up giving this lady 2 months of post-occupancy. She wouldn't leave. It ended up taking me 6 months to get her out of the building. After she vacated, she was dumb enough to call our website and tell us that she moved back into the house. So I ended up driving down to Dunkirk to deal with Miss Corns. What ended up perspiring is she ended up locking herself in the property. I called the police department. Police showed up. She locked herself in the bathroom, defecated all over the bathroom, and herself, the female cop that was there to detain her, walked out and grabbed rubber gloves and just shook her head at me. That's a shitty story.
I hope she wiped.
Yeah. So, I mean, karma. One of my staff members sent me a photo today. She was just arrested in Niagara Falls on weapons charges. So she's dealing with her own fucking decisions right now. Good for her. Tammy Corns.
Should have not waited for last in this one. You know, I'll just keep it simple. The best deals that I have, the best deals of my career have been the deals I didn't sell. That's the answer I can give you. Time is the greatest thing for real estate. If you just buy a property and you just hold it, the longer you hold it, the more money you're going to make. And I only wish I could go back to all those properties. I mean, I was buying apartment buildings in 2009 to 2014. You don't even want to know what we were paying for 8-unit apartment buildings, but I wasn't able to hold on to them because I didn't understand how money worked. I was too aggressive. I was over leveraged. I put too much emphasis on banks. But I will say, like, the properties that I have now, I mean, I've owned properties, several of those rentals since 2014, and just in the capital appreciation and the buy down of those mortgages from the rentals, we don't make a lot of money on them. I mean, might clear $100 to $300, and every time you think you're making money in these single family rentals, like, something happens, like just nature of the beast. Like, you get that dreaded call, hey, the main sewer line's broke. That usually comes in November. That's the year you're going to have a record profit for the very first time ever, and it's over. But that property also has appreciated $400,000. We've never paid a mortgage payment out of our pocket. It's always been paid by a tenant. So I think one of the things that I will tell all of you, having been doing this for a while, is the biggest mistake you'll make is selling the properties. The longer you can hold them, the longer you can figure out how to hold them and carry through the difficult times, the more wealthy you become. That's it. And also, you know, like when we were flipping, I mean, taxes just eat you alive. You know, if you keep them and you keep doing them and if you keep refinancing them, remember that's just debt. So you're not going to have to pay taxes on that. And that money becomes liquidity for you to do future deals. The problem in today's society, I feel, is everybody's in a giant rush. No disrespect to any of the wholesalers, but I think it is the worst business model on earth because you're literally trapping yourself in a freaking job. A transactional job where all you're ever going to do is just run on a hamster wheel and you're going to make money and you're spend money, make money, spend money, and you're going to brag. I love it. I go to the masterminds and, you know, these guys like, I did $3 million in wholesaling and we did this much. I'm like, you're going to be fucking broke in 2 years. Watch. And guess what? 2 years later, they're broke because they burn out. They burn out and they don't switch their model because wholesaling is a great first start or even like just an add-on to what you're doing. But eventually you got to start learning how to get the assets and keep the assets because that's where the real money is over time. I mean, some of the wealthiest people at these REITs that we go to are the old, you know, folks that sit in the back that have had properties 20, 30, 40 years. You think they're ass broke and they got millions and millions of dollars in equity in these properties because they just had time. That's it.
I completely agree. If I could hold everything, I would. Real life happens when you're trying to scale a business, but I absolutely agree with that. Wholesaling is definitely a hamster wheel, but if you look at the evolution of a real estate investor, for the most part, it's very common to start in the wholesaler seat, move up to the flipper seat, and then finally understand that the wealth and the equity really has to do with your long-term holds.
100%.
So before I go any further, guys, because we got a lot of questions coming in from the internet, do we have any local questions here? Did you have a question? Okay, what do we got?
Yeah, so I want to know, you're speaking a lot about team building and how important it is to have a good team. What roles internally have been critical to the success of the teams?
What roles have been critical in our success because of the teams that we built? I'm going to start with this one. 100%. Your bookkeeper and the person running your finances is, to me, one of the most pivotal people in your operation. And I think a lot of people skip that because it's, number one, it's expensive and you don't need it, but it always haunts you. So I think, you know, in the beginning, even if you're barely making it, get yourself a good bookkeeper that's going to keep track of all the finances, learn how to read profit and loss and balance statements and learn how cash flow works. And once you learn those, like you can operate any business off of financials and cash flow modeling. So if you want to learn something, you're an engineer, like you're a smart guy, learn cash flow modeling. And then learn how to really understand a P&L, then learn how to understand a balance sheet. Get a bookkeeper that can provide those to you every month or at minimum monthly and review them and understand the vitals of your company. I think that is single-handedly one of the most underutilized, missed things for real estate investors.
My executive assistant was my first hire and by far the most, I guess, pivotal or game-changing in my opinion. I never did my homework in high school. I didn't do my homework in college. You hand me paperwork, it's just going in a shoebox and it's not going to happen. So understanding how you think as an operator and knowing your flaws in your skill sets, I definitely think you need to take that into account when you're making a first hire. Now, I've got a finance and accounting education, so I understand a balance sheet and a profit and loss. I can do the higher level building, but I'm not doing the journal entries or the Home Depot entries. It's just not happening. So, I mean, you really need to understand yourself and how you think, understand what your skill sets are and what your negatives are, and hire things that you hate doing.
Dude, that is vital, and read the book, Who Not How.
That's a good one.
So in contracting, you're pretty much, there's so many different trades. There's the carpenters, the trim, the tile, the framing, the every part of the house is different. And I mean, I'm not a master of every part of the house. So,
you know who to call.
yeah, I know who to call. That's the biggest thing, is knowing who, or having the right person in place to be able to do that. So, and when we're doing a project, I have a person for every point, the tile, the cabinet guys, the flooring guys, the painters. And once they're all doing the same thing every day, they'll go into any house and you don't have to tell them what to do. And you don't have to babysit them on do this or that. And if they know what they're doing, leave them. Let them get the shit done. And you won't have any problems. But another issue that comes up is also moving into different, when people want to expand and grow, they want to learn more trades, and then they're learning on your money and they're training, so that takes some time, but in the long run it works out.
That's a good question.
I appreciate it. Great question. All right.
Back here, Dave.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a question. Would you ever, everything real estate so far you talked about is dealing with residential. Would you ever go to the commercial side? Specifically, I'm working on a deal to buy a place and have an event space. So that borders into commercial. Is that just an area you would stay away from, or do you have any advice on commercial real estate?
No, I don't think you should stay away from commercial at all. I think like your use case you're talking about, I think people need to invest in things that they know, like, and understand. And you're going to do an event space, which you clearly know, like, and understand, and you understand how to run that operation. So that puts you in a real power position. And I think no matter what aspect of real estate, whether it's flipping houses, wholesaling, buying apartments, burrs, storage, whatever, just pick one, maybe two avenues and focus everything you've got on those two things. I find real estate investors, me included, they go real wide. Like they start here, then they learn about this at an event, then they learn about this, and then they're doing like 10 different things and they're doing none of them well. So Dave, like with what you told me with your project, and I know you're trying to raise money, so like he's got a really, really good deal if any of you are looking to lend money. Try to narrow it down and try to get really specific about one particular thing that you're doing, and then put everything you've got into that. And if it's commercial, by all means, that's the avenue you go. And just so everybody knows, Dave is a Guinness World Record holder for memory. So he is the only person in this room that will remember almost every single thing that happened here without writing it down. And I didn't see anybody else writing things down. You were typing, but he's the only one that can remember things. So yeah, hit him up on that later.
So kind of what Chris said, I understand my niche. I am the single family residential guy. I do have a couple commercial buildings. I guess items of concern that I came across in real life practice is it's a little bit, depending on the scale of it, it's a different capital stack. If you're talking big boy commercial, multifamily investing, then you're getting yourself involved in syndications. You're not dealing with first position, single family flip lenders. So you need to understand the capital that you're raising and who your client, or I guess end user is as a lender. In the same conversation when it comes to taking that for long-term financing, I touched on Turnus, RCN, and Kiavi earlier. A lot of those lenders will not provide rental loans on the back end for it, so you have to be looking at your exit strategy. Okay, if I'm going into this private, how am I going to roll into this institutionally, and what am I going to have to produce in the back end? Income approach to value is not that complicated. But I mean, if you're going in with no track record and no P&L to bring to an institutional lender, it's going to create more headaches for you. He's good.
All right. So you can't turn the street. You can't go around the corner right now unless, and somebody brings up AI. So how are you guys integrating artificial intelligence within your businesses, and how do you feel the best place it is for real estate right now?
Oh my gosh.
Personal assistant.
All I can tell you is like, if you're not fully embracing AI and blockchain, you're already behind the curve and you're going to be left behind. I'm not of that generation that AI and all this stuff fascinates me, but I also realize how important it is, and I realize it is 100% the future. So in my companies, literally like all of my companies right now, we are in a process of developing an AI into every single thing we do. all of our software like that we own and that we've created, it is AI driven. And I know that's scary. If any of you watch Terminator 2, this is going to frighten the shit out of you, especially with quantum computing right around the corner. Basically, there is one path into the future, and it is AI. And it is that is the future, whether you like it, embrace it, or don't. But if you are not putting it into your business, and I will tell you also this, if you're putting it into your business as admin or anything else, you're doing an eighth of what you need to be doing. So even with what we're doing, which is a full AI thing, I mean, we're literally embedding in AI and blockchain, we're not doing enough. And I would say to anybody, if you're dabbling in AI or you're just ignoring it, it will be the equivalent, actually it'll be far more important, of back in the day when people said computers are never going to be the future. That's where you're at right now. And some are like, oh, AI has been around. It hasn't even begun. So what you've seen so far is not even the beginning. It's literally like the sperm just hit the egg. And now we're going to see what's going to really happen. It's going to be scary. It's going to be exciting for some. It's going to be tragic for other businesses, because there's going to be businesses that are just going to completely fold because they can't operate in a world without AI. So that's my warning, but also my gift. Embrace it, and embrace it deeply, and learn it. That's all I can say.
Adapt or die. If you're not picking it up, you're going to die.
Should have just said that.
I can go on this topic for hours, so just very briefly, we finally launched an AI assistant, so they are taking phone calls from our lead management after hours and on the weekends when I do not have staff in, and they are setting appointments. You would never even know unless I told you that you were not talking to a real person, but it's helping us from our lead management side of things. Sales training, if you're running an acquisition or a real estate brokerage company. I hate sales training. I am not doing call reviews with my staff. I am not staying on top of that to the level I should be. We're loading training content that we purchased through other providers into the background, taking our calls, dumping them in there. It is giving our staff real-time answer or feedback on how they did on their conversations. We've taken our QuickBooks reports on our previous flips, loaded them into AI, taken photos of our recent acquisitions, and we're asking it to come up with renovation budgets, and it's not that fucking off. Assuming you're feeding it the right inputs. Got it to the point where it's starting to make journal entries for us in QuickBooks, pulling things from Home Depot, things along those lines. Oh man, style and design choices, the AI generators as far as dump the picture on the front of the house and make this look pretty. There are so many, I could spend hours on this.
I will never look at you the same ever again.
There you go.
Wow. That's all I can say.
We've also been using it mainly for, you could even do a scope of work on there where you take pictures and you could have the whole ChatGPT and it will put together a scope of work. So that will help in like if you're doing wholesaling. And their costs are kind of accurate, plus minus, but also style and design, we've also been using that as well. So other than that, I mean, definitely huge, and it's going to be a huge game changer.
Okay. Well, guys, we're wrapping up our Q&A section right now, but hold on one second. This one doesn't make sense here.
Everybody like this, the Q&A? Like you just get to rifle things? A little different. We've never done this before, but we wanted to try it.
Yeah, I've seen some people I want to talk to after this meeting right here. So, Chris, Dimitri, what is your biggest challenge when raising or lending money? We're going to finish off our Q&A with this. What is your biggest challenge, and how much can you lend me tonight? I'm serious.
Biggest issue for me is pretty much just find the right deal. Find the right deal, and it's super competitive out here, and everybody's trying to find a house to flip, and we're pretty much putting in offers. You're putting in 30, 40 offers, getting maybe one, So that's pretty much what we've been facing. But I mean, it's slowing down a little bit, and we'll see how it goes.
I think for me, it's just the biggest problem I have is, you get to a certain level, let me just start. Money has a diminishing return. So as you make more, it becomes less and less important. Money becomes more of a tool, and you just have to learn how to operate the tool. And literally, like, at the stage where I'm at, like, the tool is more just about giving. I just want to focus on giving. So when I talk about, like, raising money or lending money, like, I really don't have issues there. I think really big. So when I think about raising money now, I'm not thinking about raising money for a flip. I'm thinking about how do I raise $10 million to do, like, really big shit that scares the hell out of me. But it's taken me my whole life to get to the point where I'm, like, thinking that way, and I think I'm not even thinking big enough. But my roles have shifted now from, like, raising money or, I'm lending money, but I've changed focus a lot lately. There's been a big shift, like, in the last, like, 6 months. I'm really just investing heavily back into myself because I think I'm the best investment, and I think all of you are your own best investment. So when you're looking at dollars and cents to invest that you have, just remember you're the golden goose. No one should get more investment dollars than you should. And if you're not investing in yourself to learn, to get better knowledge, to get better mentors, and to get to where you want, you're just not investing in the right place. I see people all the time investing in things they have no idea about, investing in crypto and meme coins and all sorts of shit because their Uber driver told them it's going to be good. And I'm like, how much have you invested in yourself? And the answer is usually none or not enough. And that's where I'm at. I keep investing into incubator companies, new companies that I think solve problems. And the other thing too I've done that has literally transformed our wealth is give. I've been giving a ton of money, millions every single year. Like, we just pledged $1 million. And I'm not bragging, folks. I'm just trying to help you understand something. Like, all of you will get to a certain point of wealth. I hope all of you exceed anything that I can say, but you'll get to a certain point where you'll understand that the ultimate is just giving it away. And I know that sounds absolutely stupid, but every time we give, like, we pledged $1 million to Park School, we give to charities, we give to animal rescues, we give to child trafficking, we give to all these things through our private foundation. And it's funny because the more we give, the more we get. And I can't explain it, but it's literally something I'm starting to really trying to figure out. I'm like, we give it away because obviously you get a deduction for putting it in the foundation. That's where it all started. Like, let's be real. Like, I started the foundation, I put it in there because I didn't want to give the government my money. Then you're forced to give it, and then when we started giving it and we started really leaning into that, all of a sudden, like, somewhere else in my life, money's coming in, and it's weird. It's just like, it just appears. And you're like, well, that was weird. I didn't expect that. But then you put it in the foundation, you give it again, and it just comes back around the back door. And the more you'll understand about life, the more you'll figure that part out, is when you give with purpose, because you want to give, because you want to solve some of these problems, somehow the universe just has a weird way of just putting it back in, but not just the same dollars, it gives you back more. And then you just keep doing that. And and then the second you stop giving and you start just focusing on you, the second that ends. I know it's a long way around that question, but you know what? I just don't worry about raising money anymore. I just go out and do it, and I just talk about my vision, and I don't worry about lending money because I lend on deals I like with people I like, and I invest heavily back in myself. Sorry, that was long. Took it away from you guys.
Not nearly cool enough to have a foundation and donate millions of dollars, but as my business is still in its infancy, we're going into 6 years, the last thing I really gave a shit about was a net profit. Now, don't get me wrong, we had to be over break even or I wouldn't be able to afford to do anything like this. But in the same conversation of being selfless, I'm up to 21 staff members and over 100 people if you're looking at vendors and everything else, and I would not be able to run this machine without them. And when you help other people obtain their goals and get to what they want, things will karma's great. Things will fall in your favor. I'm no longer asking to raise capital. I'm getting approached by individuals to lend money.
Beautiful.
Just a simple example of that. But same position, different perspective.
Okay, guys, well, this is coming up to the end of our Q&A. Guys, do you have any big major closing remarks?
I mean, I'll close the event out, so please take this time to, talk about anything you want to talk about, or.
Yeah, I guess just one more opportunity. Some people stepped out, but decks, gazebos, we got John in the green. Dumpsters, also purchase investments. We got Pat in the brown. Andrew in the blue here in the front is my dispositions agent. If anybody's struggling with locating deals, he sells all my wholesale activity. Mr. Doug the Wonderful, garbage, trees, trash outs, landscaping, etc. Mr. Fran, electric. Correct me if I'm wrong, but both of you guys have some rental properties you're willing to sell as well. You get to know them. They might offer some seller financing. Let's get some business going here. Pat with PCS Plumbing, great influence. Mr. Mark in the back, private financing. I'm freaking blind and there's a light in my face, so if I missed anybody, I apologize. But take advantage of the network that's here and bump elbows. And I do have the Home Depot program. If you want to put that on digitally, and anybody here locally, I can give you the QR code for that.
Okay. You want nothing? Well, he went to the bathroom, so he missed that. Closing marks. Anyone you want to give shout outs to? Any closing remarks? How do people work with you? How do you work
So
with
you got the
people
whole
that
house
want-
in here. You got the whole full team. You got the electrical. You got Doug. You got Pat. The whole full house in here. The lenders. The pretty much being at these events, you want to connect with people and have that help you. Have the insurance guy help you get a good deal on your insurance, and pretty much utilizing that. And that's the things about having a good team, is building that up.
Love it. All right. Well, hey, Phil, thank you so much, man. I learned a lot about you today. I knew about you, but Dimitri, as always, thanks. And thank all of you. But I just want to take a moment and close it out. And I think one of the things I want to talk about is just your worthy idea. When you're going through your day, what are you thinking about? What ideas are running through your head? I think one of the big lost arts now is the fact that the ideas we get, we never put them into action. We let other people tell us what our lives should be. We let other people try to interfere with that. We're scared to say, I had this idea. When I was 16, I had an idea for a clothing line. I was going to print shirts with Mr. Mahalski, my art teacher. And, I went around and told everybody about this idea. And most people said that it was stupid. It was dumb. It would never work. I told my mom, and she's like, yeah, use the basement, create it. But I think that's a huge problem in today's society. We live in a conformity society. I don't know if that's the right word to call it, but we live in a world where 95% of all the people you're ever going to come into contact with conform to somebody else's ideas. They conform to somebody else's failed plans, somebody else's failed dreams. So when you plug into that, when you just become the norm and you just kind of do just what's necessary, just enough to get by, you are conforming. The 5%, okay, the Phils, the Dimitris, and I'm going to include all of you if that's okay. You are all the 5%. You create. Don't forget that. Don't let people tell you that. Don't let anyone step in the way of that. If they get in your way, tell them to fuck off and get out of your way. Punch them in the face if you have to. Just don't get caught doing it. But literally, throughout your life, you're going to have family members, you're going to have people you love, people that are close to you tell you that your ideas are dumb. Please just ignore it. I've ignored it all my whole life. I've almost swayed back and been like, yeah, you're right. This is a dumb idea. But you know what? I didn't. I just kept believing in myself. I kept believing in my dream, and I never stopped. And I will never stop, because every day the journey just begins. So, when I look at this audience and I have this couple minutes to just kind of close out an event, this is a simple thing. But please, please, please do yourself a favor and just know that you are important. Know that your dreams are your dreams and yours alone. And what you're building is going to be the next huge thing if you allow it to. Because the only way you can the only way you can fail is if you quit. There is no other way to fail. So what are you afraid of? So many people oh, I don't want to fail. Fucking get it out of the way. Fail a bunch of times. Because in every failure, you will learn exactly what you needed to learn to get to the next level. But if you go through your whole life just, I don't want to fail, I don't want to disappoint, I don't want to upset my family and my friends, and I don't want them to think that I'm a failure, they're not your friends. If your friends ever called you a failure or even implied that your idea was dumb and, because it didn't work, you were a failure, they're not your friends. You realize you need like one person in your life. Rudy, from the movie Rudy, had one person that believed in him. One. And he went on and, now he's got a freaking movie. The little dude that got the ball, like that dude. Yeah, I met him. He's awesome. He had one person that believed in him. That's all you need. Stop going out and trying to impress people. Stop going on Facebook thinking everybody, this person just, they unfriended me, boo-hoo. Who cares? Don't even look at it. Post your dreams, post them boldly, tell everybody what you want to do, and then just ignore the noise and just go about your day for you, for your dream, and for what you want to do. And if you just do that simple thing, focus on your worthy idea, ignore everybody, keep creating, keep solving people's problems, and give your best stuff away for free. Every single one of you, and I know some of you are wildly successful. I'm looking around, I'm like, I know you got a lot, I know you're doing well, but you know what, just more. That's the answer. When people ask me when's enough enough? The answer is there is never enough, because there's always people that need. And the more you make, the more you can give, the more lives you can change, the more people you can help. So just focus on more. That's the answer. So thank you all for joining us. Network, drink the beer, please. My fridge is full, and enjoy yourself. And also, 2 things real quick. We do this every single month. I think you know that. It's always the first Thursday of the month, right here, same time, same place. So please join us. Also, we were talking about events in places where you can meet really high-level people. A lot of you needed money. So maybe you raise money here tonight. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Get on privatemoneyclub.com, create a profile. But also, we have an event in Orlando, November 7th and 8th. It's going to be at the Lowe's Sapphire Falls Resort. We do this event. It's the real money tank event. There will be well into the hundreds of people. Most of them, unfortunately, are lenders. Okay, we somehow seem to attract a lot more money than we do deals. So if you've got deals, you owe yourself this. You got to be there. It's not an expensive event. Get your ticket, book your flight, and be in Orlando November 7th and 8th. If any of you are interested, just go to privatemoneyclub.com/money tank. It's pretty simple, okay? privatemoneyclub.com. You should already know that. /money tank. Get your ticket, and I will see you November 7th and 8th at that event. Thanks, everybody.